Thank you. সবার মাইক্রোফোনটা মিউট করে দিলে হবে। Thank you, please. Good morning, everybody. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this webinar organized by the Center for Governance Studies. It is well known that COVID-19 pandemic has posed enormous challenges to every nation around the globe. Some countries have been more negatively affected by the crisis than others because of several factors, including the high population density, the poor capacity of the healthcare system, and the lack of coordination efforts. Among others, Bangladesh is suffering the most in the different sectors, including the economy, public health, governance and transparency, climate change and disaster management, local government, and food security. The center observes that the policymakers lack of assessments and resolutions, and there is an information gap among stakeholders regarding preparedness for natural disasters and the pandemic. Bangladesh having more than 50 million workers in the informal sector, approximately 10 million expatriates and more than 4 million workers in R&D sector is already experiencing severe economic disruptions. The Asian Development Bank, ADB, has predicted that 0.2% to 0.4% of Bangladesh GDP may be lost. Remittance inflows have already dropped and the unemployment rate has already skyrocketed. Recent study on COVID-19 awareness and economic impact conducted by BRAC showed 92% of the respondents affirmed that they are affected by the pandemic. With the support of United Nations Development Program, UNDP in Bangladesh, the Center for Governance Studies, CGS, has initiated a project to develop a series of policy briefs to assess the loopholes and the challenges of Bangladesh. Under this series, Dr. Nazin Ahmed, an economist, senior research fellow, Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies, BIDS, has developed the policy brief on economy titled Searching Ways Forward for Bangladesh in the Time of Pandemic, COVID-19 and the Bangladesh Economy, Nature of the Downturn and Prospects for Recovery. Today, we are going to release the third policy brief, and it's now available on our website. On the occasion of releasing the policy brief on Bangladesh economy, the center has organized this online discussion event. This event is now live on different social media like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And indeed, we are happy that today we have with us Mr. Mimannan, MP, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Planning, Mr. Amir Khusro Mahmood Chowdhury, former Commerce Minister and member of the Standing Committee of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, Dr. Mohammad Parvez Imdad, an economist and governance and public administration specialist and former Bangladesh and international civil servant, Dr. Nazin Ahmed, the author of the policy brief, and CGS chairman, Dr. Monjur Ahmed Chowdhury. And now here is our key speaker, author of the policy brief, Dr. Nazin Ahmed, a renowned economist and a senior research fellow, Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies, BIDS. Dr. Nazin Ahmed.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. And I really thank the organizers for giving me a chance to develop this policy brief, and also thanks to UNDP for supporting this project. And I'm very delighted to see my minister, because the organization where I work, he's the chair. So it's very good feeling that I'm presenting this policy paper. Before I start the presentation, I'd like to share the screen that I'm going to present. I hope you people can just make it a slideshow. Okay, I hope all of you can see my presentation. Can you see this, Azilur Bhai? Is it?
You can see, yeah.
Okay, so before I start this presentation, some information I should give. First of all, this is a policy brief. This is not a very elaborate analysis of everything, but we looked into other studies, what are the other statistics, and we have developed this policy brief. And also, when the brief was developed, it was near roughly in October. So the statistics, some of the statistics statistics are up till October, but when I'm presenting, I will try to give you the updates on many issues. So as you know that in this paper, we will try to look for, it's a forward-looking presentation, that what can we do now, what lessons we have learned so far, because Corona has been here for nearly 1 month, 1 year now. So in March, it will be 1 year. So 11 months we have been suffering from this pandemic. So what have we learned and what can we do in future? So as Zillur Bhai has already mentioned that our projected GDP that was for when it was, while it was in the regular year in 18-19, it was 8.1, and we were supposed to grow by in 1920. Our projection was 8.2%, but we all know that due to pandemic, finally we could secure a growth rate of 5.23%. We have a projection for next year for 8.2%, and but we already know that if we look at the 8th five-year plan, the growth rate for 2021 has already been slashed to roughly above 7%. So this shows that we feel that the impact of pandemic is not just at the moment. It will continue for a while because it had a devastating impact on the whole world. So if we look at some of the macro indicators that we see in case of for the impacts of COVID-19, we see that it had a very large, it had a very notable impact on our export. Our export at the end of the fiscal year 1920 was less than 17% than the previous year, and still the export sector is suffering. If we look at the statistics, only few sectors are having positive growth, but mostly we see a kind of very slowdown in the export scenario. We are we are facing problem with unemployment. Maybe it's not as acute as it was during the lockdown, because during the lockdown, obviously the economy, almost all the activities in the economy were shut down and therefore the unemployment was very high at that moment. The economy is now coming back, recovering, but still unemployment is something to be concerned about. Obviously it has some impact on our tax GDP ratio, but the thing is, because our import has also gone down, and many of our activities were not really like the regular situation. So some people say that even if the revenue earning was less, maybe the revenue requirement was also less because of the activities were not like the regular situation. But yet we all know that we have to improve our tax earnings, and but our remittance has shown some light or some positive light during the pandemic, and we still see the remittance inflow is growing, though many of us apprehend that whether this growth will continue in near future or not. But till now, remittance earning has given us a relief from some of the apprehension that we had regarding some macro implication. Another positive side is of course, it's like monder bhalo amra jetake boli. So it's like the foreign exchange reserve has increased. But we all know that one reason for this increase in foreign exchange reserve is that because the import was less, but at the same time we had our remittance, as I mentioned. So this is a strength of the economy, because if we had now even a crisis in foreign exchange reserve, then that would have increased some imbalance in the macroeconomy. So if we could avoid that, because we have this good reserve, and which gives us some, I would say, some breathing space for the economy. So if we I would like to I would like to say that at a very early stage of COVID-19 pandemic, the government announced a stimulus package, though later on the implementation in some sectors was were slow, but still I would like to thank the government for announcing the stimulus package, because that was very important for the business community. I talked to many entrepreneurs and during some of my research during the pandemic, and I found that immediately they felt very shaky because of the whole the situation in the whole world, and this announcement of stimulus package gave them some cushion. And under that, yes, we saw we noticed many shortcomings and loopholes in our health sector. In a sense, it was good to know, because I hope in future we should learn from the situation, the weaknesses in our health sector, and act in that line. And some indication I see that immediately after we noticed this crisis, government recruited doctors and nurses and health people, health sector people to support our especially the COVID-19 treatment, and that was a positive thing to notice. But at the same time, we have seen during the first few months there were problems even with non-COVID treatments of patients. So during this pandemic, the major initiatives that government took is the stimulus package, which includes food support, support to business, and support to informal sector also. But the implementation, obviously, especially for informal sector and for SMEs, was slow. We all know that. Government also increased public expenditure, and which was good for the economy. And so far, till October, there were 21 stimulus packages. Now it's 23 stimulus packages we see. And for the main objectives that has been mentioned for this stimulus package is job retention, restoring demand and maintaining supply chain, employment creation, revitalizing rural economy, enhancing social security, ensuring food supply. So these were the main objectives that were mentioned by this when the stimulus packages were announced. So if we look at as I have mentioned, that if we look at the size of the stimulus package in terms of our economy size and in terms of the capacity, I think the size was okay. But the thing is, especially the implementation or the implementation of stimulus package for small and medium enterprises enterprises which are in the informal sector, I think we could package it in a different way. I will explain later. We still have time to do that. We have seen that efforts have been made for the business sector by giving them, even the ready-made garment sector received some support for to pay wage to their workers, which they took loan at a service charge of 2%. Though we have raised question that why a sector which has been here operating here for more than 40 years, why they needed this support for the wage of the workers. So in future, this sector has to learn also that if they are growing, if they are the main export sector of the country, they also have to think of how they can, how they by themselves can fight this kind of uncertainty and this kind of situation. I think during this COVID, one good thing was the performance of the agriculture sector, especially the last April and May is the time of harvesting our main rice, Boro rice, and we have seen that there were good preparation for that harvest, especially in the Haur area. Today's chief guest is his home district is in the Haur area, and he knows that at that time government organized some, they make arrangement for some transport so that workers, agricultural workers can go to the Howrah area and harvest the boro rice, boro paddy before the water comes in, because in Howrah area the areas go underwater for long time. So I think that was a good initiative. But later on, I think that when the almond season came, though we had a flood, but we observed a rise in the price of rice, which apparently did not have a good reason for the price of rice to increase. Maybe some people say the many rice has been utilized for pandemic related relief work, and flood destroyed almond production. But yet, because the boro production was good and we could maintain agricultural supply chain, so we really have to see why the price of rice increased. In my view, I would like to get attention of our chief guest that in Bangladesh in recent years we have allowed very large auto rice mills. এবং এই আমি একটু বাংলায় বলি এই জন্য যে এই অটো রাইস মিলগুলোর ক্যাপাসিটি এত বেশি, এবং মাননীয় প্রধান অতিথি আমাদের যে একটি মজুদ আইন আছে, সেই মজুদ আইন অনুযায়ী যদি স্বাভাবিক ভাবেও তারা তাদের এই চালের তারা মজুদ রাখেন, তাহলেও কোনো রকম আইন না ভেঙেও তারা যেই পরিমাণ চাল গুদামজাত করে রাখতে পারবেন। এরা এত বড় অটো রাইস মিল, 50টি অটো রাইস মিল, এখানে কোনো সিন্ডিকেট খোঁজার দরকার নেই। আসলে তারা বসে কোনো সিন্ডিকেসি কিচ্ছু করছেন না, সিন্ডিকেট নাই। বাট দ্য থিং ইজ, এনারা এত বড় যে তারা স্বাভাবিক মজুদ আইনেও যদি চাল রাখেন, এটাই অনেক চাল তাদের কাছে থেকে যায়, অনেক ধান তাদের কাছে থেকে যায়। সো উই রিয়েলি হ্যাভ টু রিভিউ আমাদের এই মজুদ আইনটা দেখা উচিত, এবং উই রিয়েলি হ্যাভ টু থিঙ্ক আমরা কি এভাবেই এত বড় বড় অটো রাইস মিলকে অনুমতি দিয়ে যাব কিনা। উই হ্যাভ টু থিঙ্ক অফ দ্যাট। এনিওয়ে, আমি একটু অফ ট্র্যাকে চলে গেলাম, যেহেতু পরিকল্পনা মন্ত্রী ছিলেন। আমি দ্রুত যাচ্ছি। সো ভ্যাকসিনেশন ইনিশিয়েটিভ যেটা আমাদের ইতোমধ্যে শুরু হয়েছে, অ্যান্ড উই হ্যাভ সিন দ্যাট পিপল আর অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্রেজিং দ্য হোল থিং, the way the registration process and the discipline in the centers. I think it's commendable and it's a good initiative. Even we are ahead of many of the developed countries. As I have already mentioned that for like 20,000 crore taka was allocated for small and medium enterprises, but it was through the banking system. But we know that many small and medium enterprises, actually they are not in the formal sector. Even if they are in the formal sector, think about the industries that are badly affected. একটা ফার্ম যদি টিকে নাই থাকলো কোভিড-19 সময়, সে তো লোন নিতে যাবে না। অ্যান্ড অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম একটা ব্যাংকের কাছে ভালো ক্লায়েন্টকে, একটা ব্যাংকের কাছে ভালো ক্লায়েন্ট হচ্ছে যার ক্ষতি কম হয়েছে, যার তেমন ক্ষতি হয় নাই। ব্যাংক চিন্তা করবে তার টাকাটা কেমন করে উঠে আসে। ফলে এই স্টিমুলাস প্যাকেজ দিয়ে যদি ব্যাংকিং সেক্টরের মাধ্যমে যেটা গেছে, বড় ইন্ডাস্ট্রি দে কুড গেট দ্য লোন। সো উই সি নাও ইটস অলমোস্ট লাইক 100% disbursement of the stimulus package for the large industries. But if we look at the small and medium enterprises, এবং সব ক্ষেত্রে আমরা আসলে খুব রেশনাল হচ্ছে, যাদের অনেক বেশি ক্ষতি হয়েছে তারা এই লোন পেয়েছে কিনা সেটা আমাদের দেখার বিষয়। It's an important thing to see that because for the banks, তার তো লোন ডিসবার্সমেন্ট দেখাতে পারলেই হলো, এবং সে চাইবে তার কাছে দিতে যেখান থেকে টাকা ফেরত আসে। But we have to think of those enterprises which are badly affected by the pandemic. It's very important to now monitor, একটু আমাদের ইভালুয়েট করা who got this money, যারা অনেক ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হয়েছে তারা কি আসলে স্টিমুলাস প্যাকেজের টাকা পেয়েছে কিনা। কারণ এবং এই কারণে I want to thank the government for a recent package they have been announced of 2,700 crore taka that will be disbursed through NGOs. So that was my suggestion also when government had a series of webinar on the effectiveness of stimulus package in last November. And I am also part of a government bank called Polli Sanchoy Bank, and government allocated 500 crore taka to Polli Sanchoy Bank for disbursement. And in the first installment, it was 250 crore taka. এবং এই 250 কোটি টাকার মধ্যে পল্লী সঞ্চয় ব্যাংক কিন্তু পুরোটাই ডিসবার্স করতে পেরেছে, এবং সিমিলার এক্সপিরিয়েন্সেস উইথ PKSF এবং এই ধরনের টাকা যাদেরকে দেওয়া হয়েছে and that money reached to poor people. কারণ তাদের তো অলরেডি বেনিফিশিয়ারি সিলেক্ট করাই আছে, যারা তাদের বেনিফিশিয়ারি they are already the poor people. So this was a very effective way of disbursing money to people, very small entrepreneurs who needed money. So I think in future we can direct more money through this channel, and obviously of course we have to monitor how they are utilizing that money. So in for the যেহেতু forward looking, আমাদের এখন just short run we should think of a medium term plans for recovery, not only for the short run. So I would like to say that আমি বলতে চাচ্ছি, এটা গত অক্টোবরে যেহেতু ওই সময় লেখা হয়েছে, আমি বলেছিলাম যে জুন মাস পর্যন্ত এই বছরের 2021-এর we should consider this as a prevention phase. এই সময় আমরা করোনাকে কত জোরে সোরে ফাইট করতে পারছি, that should be our main focus. And I think এই ফোকাসের ক্ষেত্রে the main instrument is the vaccination program. So we should emphasize on successful implementation of the vaccination program so that it reaches all people, all adult people, rich, poor, rural, urban. And then we have to already think of a recovery phase, which for the next 1 year, 21 to 22 June. So this phase will be very important, how we support the different sectors of the economy. And we also have to think of a third phase, which I am calling a progress phase. So I have already talked about the prevention phase, where our main tool will be the vaccination program and improving the health, our health sector. And during this period, we also have to have successful implementation of our food aid. We have to continue with food and cash support where needed, and implementation of social protection programs, especially the short-run employment programs of the government. স্বল্প সময়ের জন্য যে কর্মসৃজন কর্মসূচি সরকারের আছে, and the government has a fund for that. I think in both urban and rural areas we need this kind of short-term employment opportunities for poor people, and we should allocate more money in that line. And also we also have to think of the education of the children. If we are still not planning to open the educational institute, then we have to make sure that poor households have access to gadgets, because many students of poor households, they don't have a smartphone or laptops to even that, or the desktop to do their online classes. They are spending a lot of money by renting a smartphone or laptop for 1 hour. গ্রামের দিকে বাজারে গিয়ে একটা স্মার্টফোন তারা রেন্ট করে 1 থেকে 1.5 ঘন্টার জন্য ক্লাস করতে, and that's expensive for them. So we really have to think, and we have to work with the development partners how we can support these people. এবং আমার মনে হয় যে আগামী 1 বছরেও খুব সব পুরো দমে ক্লাস খোলা যাবে বলে মনে হয় না. So we have to think how we can support them. In the recovery phase, as I have mentioned, that is very important phase when that we are that we have to think of, because our economic turnaround will depend on what we do in next 1 year. We have to, it is very important that we monitor the different business enterprises. We give them support. We should develop a system of supporting their business. How? It's not that give them the cash. আমাদের দেখতে হবে যে তাদের বিজনেসটা ভালো না মন্দ চলছে, বিশেষ করে যেই বিজনেসগুলো বেশি ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হয়েছিল. আদারওয়াইজ উই উইল হ্যাভ প্রবলেম অফ লোন ডিফল্টার্স। এবং আমরা বলছি যে এই সময়ে আগের যে ঋণ ছিল সেটাতে আমরা একটা ব্রিদিং স্পেস দিয়েছে সরকার, যে তাদেরকে ওই মুহূর্তে রিটার্ন করতে হচ্ছে না, একটা লম্বা সময় দেওয়া হয়েছে, উইচ ইজ গুড। বাট অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম আমাদের মনে রাখতে হবে যে বড়োয়াররা যেন ভুলে না যান যে লোন নিয়ে সেটা আসলে ফেরত দিতে হয়। সো উই হ্যাভ টু থিঙ্ক, মেবি উই ক্যান থিঙ্ক অফ smaller installments and taking of different categories of enterprises. যে এন্টারপ্রাইজ গুলো ভালো করছে তারা তাদের পারফরমেন্স দেখে সেইখান থেকে স্মল অ্যামাউন্ট ইনস্টলমেন্ট নেয়ার চেষ্টা করা। না হলে আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে সবার জন্য ঢালাওভাবে আসলে এই সুবিধার দরকার নাই, বরং কিছু এন্টারপ্রাইজের জন্য আসলে এই সুবিধাটা বেশি দরকার, বেশি দিনের জন্য দরকার দিস ব্রিদিং স্পেস, যাদের অনেক ক্ষতি হয়েছে। সো আই থিঙ্ক ইটস ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট জাস্ট শুধু স্টিমুলাস স্টিমুলাস প্যাকেজ দিয়ে দেওয়া না, ব্যাংকগুলোর মাধ্যমে পারফরমেন্স কিরকম হচ্ছে সেই অনুযায়ী কাদের কতটুকু হলে ছাড় দেওয়া হবে, একটা এখন লোন ফেরত দিতে হবে না, সেই ব্রিদিং স্পেস আমরা দিব, সেই চিন্তা ভাবনাটা করতে হবে। উই হ্যাভ ফর সাম এন্টারপ্রাইজেস উই হ্যাভ টু অ্যালাউ more time. For some enterprises it's not required, or maybe we can think of a small amount of installments এবং যেটা তারা ফেরত দিতে পারে। Then I'm the third phase, it's a medium term progressive চিন্তা রেখে 2022-23 that I'm saying that is also important, যেখানে আমরা মনে করছি যদি আর কোনো কোভিডের ধাক্কা না আসে we will be moving towards regular economic activities, and that will depend on the implementation of government projects, mainly mega projects. So we should be very careful from just from today that we are on right path of implementing the mega projects, because আমাদের এখন যত জায়গায় সম্ভব খরচ বাঁচাতে হবে। আমরা জানি যে মেগা প্রজেক্টের সময় বাড়লে সেটার খরচ অনেক গুণ হয়ে যায়। সো উই হ্যাভ টু বি ভেরি কেয়ারফুল, যেহেতু আমাদের ফরেন এক্সচেঞ্জ রিজার্ভ আছে, যেসব প্রজেক্টে বিদেশ থেকে কাঁচা মালামাল আমদানি করতে হয় সেই জায়গায় আমরা কিন্তু ফরেন কারেন্সি ব্যবহার করার মতো আমাদের ব্রিদিং স্পেস আছে। সো we have to monitor regularly these development projects so they are implemented on time. আমাদের স্কিল ডেভেলপমেন্ট লাগবে, বিকজ আমাদের যে পথে আমরা যেতে চাই, আমাদের এফিসিয়েন্সি বাড়িয়ে এখন যে ক্ষতিটা হয়েছে সেটা পুষিয়ে নিতে হবে। সেই এফিসিয়েন্সি দুভাবে বাড়ানো যায়, উইথ দ্য মেশিন অ্যান্ড উইথ দ্য ম্যান। সো we in addition to supporting technological advancement, we really have to spend money on skill development projects, skill development programs of the government. E-commerce is a very good platform that has evolved. COVID এর যদি কোনো পজিটিভ জায়গা আমি বলি থেকে থাকে, এই সময় ই-কমার্স প্রচুর বেড়েছে, ই-কমার্স ভিত্তিক স্টার্টআপ চালু হয়েছে। আমি নিজে সেগুলোর দুই একটাকে মনিটর করছি, একেবারে ফ্রম জিরো থেকে তারা এই পর্যন্ত কোথায় এসেছে। ইটস এ ভেরি, এই জায়গায় এনকারেজমেন্ট দরকার টু আওয়ার ইয়াং অন্টারপ্রেনার্স। তারা অনেকেই ভালো ইনোভেটিভ আইডিয়া নিয়ে আসছে। আই থিঙ্ক দিস ইজ অ্যান এরিয়া যেখানে বাংলাদেশ সামনে এগিয়ে যেতে পারে। অ্যান্ড এটা শুধু একটা সেক্টর হিসেবে না, it will improve the efficiency of many other sectors. So I think government support to e-commerce and mobile financial services is very important. Utilizing these mobile financial services for implementing the social protection program is also important, and therefore creating new fintech facilities in rural areas will be
Dr.
important.
Dr.
I
Nazrin,
will stop here.
Please make it short for this moment.
Points I wanted to mention. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Nazrin Ahmed, for your valuable speech. I hope we all enjoyed her interesting presentation. May I request now Mr. Amir Khosrow Mahmood Chaudhary, former Commerce Minister of Bangladesh and member of the Standing Committee, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP. Mr. Amir Khosrow Mahmood Chaudhary, please. It's over to you.
Thank you, Zilur. Thank you, Dr. Nazrin Ahmed, for the presentation. I think she covered almost the aspect of outlook for economy quite well. I'll just make very few points, because I think we have been talking about the same thing over and over again. So I don't want to go through everything. I just make few points, and I have to also leave because I have a vaccine appointment. So I'll have to leave a bit early, if you excuse me. Sorry, the time came suddenly, so actually I didn't have much choice. Sorry about that. I think we have to, first of all, I think it's just with COVID and also beyond COVID, we need to look at the economy, that the way economy is developing in Bangladesh, the development that is taking place in the economic front. I think we need to reset the present corrupted economic model. Sorry to say, it sounds very strong, because I think the model that we have developed in Bangladesh so far it has come to a very corrupted economic model. It has come to practically a plutocratic, state-patronized, almost oligarchic economy right now. It's not really free market economy that we are operating right now. It is a set of people who are controlling the economic activities of the country. And they're in the financial sector, they're in the stock market, they're in the parliament, they're in the government. And it's a kind of model which really does not go with the free market economic model. It has become a rent-seeking economy, absolutely rent-seeking. Talk of this vaccine, I mean, all very well. Why do we have to procure this vaccine through a private company? I mean, I was just watching how European Union, they have directly contacted these pharmaceutical companies. I've seen America's, most of them, almost all the economies. There is no middleman to procure vaccine. And the money that was made through this middleman, it is the taxpayers of Bangladesh who are paying this money. It is our taxpayers' money that's being spent on this transaction that took place. Nazdin also mentioned the mega projects. I think she did not go far enough. I mean, in the name of development, really, these mega projects, the amount of money is siphoned off from the economy and loaned out outside Bangladesh, across the world. It is a well-known fact. We are not having an economy where investment environment is right for the proper investors to invest. Look at there is no relationship between the kind of growth that we are talking about and the investment, particularly in the private sector. We are still hovering around 22, 23%, still hovering around. BNP left way back, 12 years back, 26% was the private sector investment. The investment figure was around 26%. And that went very well with the growth figure of 7.06% at the time. Now we are throwing some figures which has no relationship with the real investment in the country. And where would you get the real investment? You get the real investment when the return on your investment is coming from the real economy. When you're making money from mega projects, it's siphoned off. This kind of money, you'll not be able to park in Bangladesh. It's such a huge amount of money, you cannot park in Bangladesh, this kind of money. And we know where these monies are getting parked. If you're making, look at the power sector, what kind of rent seeking is taking place. In spite of objection time and again from all across the economic thinkers in Bangladesh, the think tanks and others have been saying time and again, stop this quick rental, for God's sake. This is bleeding the exchequer of the country. It is the taxpayers' money that is bleeding the exchequer of the country. But we see that time after time, the extension is taking place. And sometimes we say that there is oversupply of electricity. Yet these people are getting paid. They are getting paid. Without supplying anything, any electricity, they are getting paid. Look at the financial sector, what kind of rent seeking is taking place. Look at the banking sector. These directors in the private banks, I mean, when they have to pay, I mean, this is ridiculous. We see from time to time that this Association of Bankers Association paying huge sums of money every other occasion, every other month or every month to Prime Minister's Fund or some other fund. Huge amount of money. This is the depositors' money. Whose money are you doling out? You cannot do that. This is the depositors' money. And putting ads for political purposes, one after another for the political purposes. This is the money going out of depositors' money. And to make them happy, you extend, now the directorship can be extended, the number can be increased, knowing fully well, a good part of these directors, what they're doing with their banks. We know all very well. And there is no check and balance. Central bank is helpless completely. Central bank really, truly do not have any power in the sense that they can control, they regulate this bank. It is the regulator's job. Yet, on the other hand, the governor of the central bank is called over to a hotel meeting where the Bankers Association are having the meeting, and the governor of the central bank has to be present there. Just imagine. Where is the autonomy? Is this the job? If you call over the chief of the regulatory body, the central bank, to a hotel in the private bankers meeting, what does it tell you? What does it tell you? So in short, I can go on giving examples after examples. The economy has become a rent-seeking economy. Exactly why you're not getting in the investment. Exactly why the money is siphoned off, is laundered outside the country. Because these kind of rent seekers' money, they grab economy, who grab the businesses, who make money through the state patronization. These money do not sit at home and get invested. It is as simple as that. This money takes place, this money ends up somewhere else. And a hell of a lot of this money is ending up all over the world. In real estate, offshore banking, Swiss banks, and in many other areas. And people know it. You go to Dubai, everybody knows who is buying what, who is investing in which sector. You go to London, which property is owned by who. You go to Canada, everybody knows. You go to Malaysia, this is rent seekers' money. They are taking money. This is why you don't see the investment. You're talking about 8% growth. Where is the investment? It has to be plowed back into the economy. Why is it not getting plowed back into the economy? Why don't you see the 26, 27, 28% investment? Because this money is not getting invested. This money is earned through the rent seeking, through state patronization. So you have to address the root of it. This economic model has to be reset into real free market economy. In short, I'm saying, but I don't have time, sorry, I have to go. Secondly, the institutions of the state. What is happening to the institutions of the state today? They are all hollowed out. They are all hollowed out. You see the shells only. No institutions can perform to their desire. No institutions can perform according to the constitutional guidance, as per rules, professionally, independently. They are all hollowed out. All you see is the shells. So what do you expect when the institutions don't function? I was reading a book called Why Nations Fail. In the whole book, it talks about when the institution fails, the nation fails. And in Bangladesh, starting from Bangladesh Bank, I gave you the example, all through the election commission and all the statutory and non-statutory institutions are all hollowed out. None of them are functioning. In such a scenario, truly a sustainable economy cannot be developed. And what happened, we have seen during the pandemic, for us to really go forward in a truly a free market economic sense, have a level playing field for everybody to participate. the real earned income, which will be plowed back into the economy, not unearned income. Because there is so much unearned income, it is not getting plowed back. So this is the first thing we have to reset. You have to bring back a democratic government who are accountable to the people. Institutions has to be there has to be oversight from the institutions. The watchdog must be able to function, must be able to monitor, which is not being done. This is why you have a rent seekers economy now, today. Look at the demographic dividend that Dr. Nazdin touched a little bit. Today, Bangladesh is sitting with the best demographic dividend scenario. But what have we done with it? And this demographic dividend does not last forever. It has a living time. It has a time frame. Say 30, 35 years. We have lost good 10, 12 years already. Look at the state of the demographic dividend that we have earned from this. How much have we invested in health sector? It's in disaster. To say the least, this health sector is in disaster. We do not even invest 1% of the GDP, not even 1%. Worse than Afghanistan. You're talking about demographic dividend? Investing below 1% of GDP? How much do we invest in education? Education system is disaster. Totally, it is taken over by the politics of a ruling party. Starting from the universities across the board. What does the products look like? Why you have these educated, unemployed people? Because they don't come up to the job that is required to be done. They don't come up to it. Where is the skilling, reskilling, upskilling projects? Who is investing? It's not there. So in short, demographic dividend that we have lost good 10, 12 years already. And we have very little in hand, maybe you have another 20 years. So it's no good saying demographic dividend without doing anything about it. Then technology, okay. I think technologically, Bangladesh, I have to finish.
Chaudhary, please,
I'm going. I'm finishing, okay. I have to go actually, thank you. And technologically, I think we need to really, the technological transformation that is going to take place globally, not in Bangladesh, globally. The adaptation to that is very, very important. And that is going to be the future, a good part of future economy. And of course, sustainable economy with the environment. With Sundarban having a power plant, our heritage project doesn't look very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Amit.
Can I take leave? Jillur, can I take leave? Sorry.
Please. Thank you so much. Thanks for your contribution.
আমি মন্ত্রী সাহেবের থেকে ছুটি নিচ্ছি একটু, কারণ আমি আপনারটা আমার ভ্যাকসিন দিতে যাচ্ছি, সরি, এই জন্য ছুটি নিচ্ছি, আপনার বক্তব্য শুনতে পারলাম না, দুঃখিত, but I have to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amit Kushal Mahmood Chaudhary. At this moment of the discussion, I'd like to request Mr. M. A. Mannan MP, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Planning, to take the floor. Mr. Minister.
স্যার একটু আনমিউট করতে হবে স্যার।
So familiar situation, it always happens. Thank you. Well, once again, the familiar subject, a very well-worked and hard-worked presentation by Nazneen Ahmed, Dr. Nazneen Ahmed. Very assertive and very critical and very emotional. He just left Mr. Khosrow Mahmood Chaudhary, our former Commerce Minister. Widespread presentation on the subject, full of accusations and very familiar negativities of which we are very familiar these days. He has just left. I wish him luck. I wish he were here. We could have. I'm not trying to rebut. There's no sense doing it. These are discussions. So you can say your say, I can say my say, and then we are there. The point is, there is an issue, global. It's not Bangladesh's issue, COVID, and universal. It has affected everyone. There's debate about it. If it had affected only us or this region, probably would have been hanged by now. But fortunately, even the big ones are on the same line as we are. So in a sense, there is a kind of cynical pleasure in that, okay, I'm not alone, you're all here with us. So in that way, COVID has been around, and COVID has affected life in so many ways. There has been deaths, more than 2 million by now. There has been serious damages to the living standards of the people all over the world, because economy has been depressed, production lines have been brought down, trades have been affected, supply routes have been disrupted. As a result, the economy as such, almost across the globe, has went down by 2-3 notches in very ordinary language. So the question here was, the first was how to sort of stave it off, or provide some kind of a safety measure so that the people can be protected from this. With very advanced science available to humanity at large now these days, going right up to Mars and Moon and everywhere, it was one of our failures, I would say, that we were rather not prepared to handle this menace. And our science in relation to developing vaccines, etc., or other preventive measures were way behind. The science, which is very agile, which is almost always ready with solutions to many aspects of our life, this time could not come up with a solution, with a sort of a preventive measure that could have really provide some relief to the suffering humanity as such. But anyhow, having said that, it's now turned around, and the first objective of humanity to stave it off, to make to find ways to hold it back and to recover, that has been done. The vaccines are around, both in the West and in the East, including in my country. So first thing, reducing death, reducing pain, that I think we are on the positive side now. We are on the rollback now, I can say in that way. The other thing, the economy, which caused our living standards to fall, which caused more miseries to the poorer section of the population. In our economy, which increased the number of poor, these are obvious. Now that's different matter altogether. How do you handle that? There are no vaccines for it. There's only one vaccine, and that is work. And there's only one vehicle to put the vaccine in, trade. Vehicle, trade through which the work is exchanged and we make a living. Both have been disrupted. Work was disrupted because there was no vehicle to put across your output. And vehicle was disrupted because factories had been closed. The routes have been cut. Trade routes have been stopped out of fear of this COVID menace, as well as, so many other unknown factors also moved in. And at the same time, there were pockets of global economy where protectionism was resorted to. Some countries, some economists thought that, okay, we are in for a bad round of global recession, so let us try and save our own house. And they took sort of recourse to some very negative ideas, protectionist ideas, which no more is valid in this modern day world. because globalization, movement of people, electronic movement, digitization, all the cyber world, these are very real things around. So in the face of that, these very narrow protectionist ideas would not have worked. But you do things under emotional stress, which some people did. They only delayed the recovery, I would say. If they had not taken recourse to these kind of protectionist measures, I can't name the countries, probably the pain would have been reduced to a large extent, but that was not done, unfortunately. Okay, now with the vaccines around, and maybe the natural course of the virus is probably dying out in some parts of the world, including in my country, I can say. So overall, by middle of this year, 21, we hope to be turning around the corner. And with that also, the question of resilience, getting up, getting back into action, into work, that comes up on top of the priorities. In our economy, our government, with its limitations, with resource constraints, you know very well, we tried in the best possible way we could. We may have made mistakes, we can't deny that. But overall, by looking at the end results, Nazanin is here, other gentlemen, Manzoor Chaudhary, probably I can see the name. So these are people who are cognoscenti, they study and they look at these things. I think overall, as a layman, our score is quite good. Impressive, I would say. Given our economic strength, given our scientific strength, given our cultural weaknesses, we have done fairly well. Our death figures are low. I don't take pride in that. It's a very sad thing to be discussing about death. But our death figures compared to other countries are low. And our medical system, not the best in the world at all, not one of the best in the world, has coped very well. And also in vaccine management, which is the name of the game now at this moment across the globe, I think our score is very good. Even Europeans are not doing very well. They are in a kind of disarray, I can say. Each country saying its own thing. The European Union as a whole and England are very familiar to us, has also not handled it the way we have. So in vaccine management, with the initial fits and starts the first few days, some fears and some suspicions, we are now turned around the corner. And now there's a rush for vaccines. There's a huge line, and I'm sure our target of reaching the number of vaccinations by so-and-so date, the coming few, I don't know when exactly, but by the date that we have targeted, we'll be able to do it. So what's it now? Now that the COVID is on the rollback, now that vaccine is out, now it is time for us to be getting back into work, which is fundamental to the whole game. And in terms of work again, I would like to again, not taking pride, but again, why I should not. One of the earliest decisions that our government took, our Prime Minister took under her leadership, she took great risk. I don't know how she did it. Maybe by mere luck, or she had a better sense, or strong conduct, as you say in Bangla, or confidence, which she shows very frequently. She decided in May not to go for an all-out lockdown. There were very strong pressures on her from various quarters. Oh my God, Prime Minister, unless you have a complete lockdown, there will be millions of deaths. There will be dead people lying around like Chiaftar and Monantar on the roads. Please, please, close everything. Close all the windows and shutters and stay home. She did not. And that was very wise now. In hindsight, everyone says she did right. The supply lines remained active. Vegetables and foods came from North Bengal to South Bengal, from East Bengal to West Bengal. Workers, the real units of production, they were allowed to move freely across the country. They went to the places where they could pick up their forgotten links. They could go back to the places and pick up their old rickshaws or hammers or sickles or boats or bochas, whatever. They could go back to their work. And what happened? See, our loss in terms of number, which Nazin probably has better number than me. I don't know the numbers. We have done very, very well. I carry in my mobile a number which was published by IMF and World Bank. I wish I could show you. What happened? What was that? How we coped in South Asia among the 10 countries. Growth during 2020, country, growth during 2020, and death per million. It is all over in the internet. I don't have to again bring it to your notice. Bangladesh, lo and behold, topped the list. India, our great neighbor, is at the bottom of the list of 10 countries. Bangladesh achieves a growth of 3.8% by their estimation. By our estimation, 5.45. By these World Bank and IMF estimation, we reached 3.8. And India lost minus 10.3, contracted by 1/10 of the economy. That's a very great scorecard. That's not our preparation. It's not by BPS. It is not done by my BPS. It's done by IMF, World Bank. It's in your hand. You just go to your mobile and see it yourself. So what I'm trying to say is that we have done very, very well. There is no magic in it, I think. I am a hard-nosed person. I don't believe in magics and spirits. People did work. Where did they work? Number one, in the agriculture sector. The hero of our time. Provided the basic foundations of our economy, which still is. Provided food security, agriculture, and our valiant workers all over the world, 12 million plus men and women, not talking about working day and night. In the palm gardens of Malaysia, in the sandy, desolate wastelands of Saudi Arabia and Middle Eastern countries. So these are the people. These two sectors, agriculture and remittance, they propped us up, propped up the economy. And by an early decision to open up, by May, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she opened up the industrial sector. The workers who went to Gaibandha and Satkira and Sunamganj could come back and join their work. So the export sector, which was sagging, which is almost falling down, could come up. And what I'm told by our BGMEA now, they are not there yet, but they are about 70-80% to where they were before the pandemic. That's a great, great achievement. So agriculture, remittance, and another very courageous move by Sheikh Hasina, our Prime Minister, what you call Pronodana package, incentive package of Lakhadi Koti Taka in our money. Lakhadi 120 Lakho Koti Kota Hobe. Koti Bishloko, that was about 12 million crore Taka Bodhe. I'm not very good in numbers, but anyway, huge, about 4% of the GDP were just thrown away, quote unquote. Of course, there was a system in it. The banks were used. Various organizations like BGMEA, BKMEA, SME sector, they were being used. But here again, I must be honest. Idea was to inject, Keynesian injection. That was done immediately. Then we started, misfired. The naysayers were ready with their nays. But yes, sir, the good sayers had seen about 80 to 90% has gone into the system. Yes, I agree. About 15-20% of the monies could not reach the SME sectors, the lower end of the SME sector. And the problem was not with the money. Problem was they were not within the banking system. They had no bank account. The bankers did not know them. Now we are trying to we are trying to recustomize and find other ways. We are this time with the latest infusion, as Nazin was mentioning, some 20,000 crore or something. We're going to use MRA. We are going to use SME Foundation. We are going to be using the entire huge, big MFIs, microcredit sectors, who are absolutely, they are there. The small scale microcredit operators have been working there for decades. Although their rates of interest have been under sort of a lot of criticism, that's a different thing altogether. But they are there. So we're going to use these vehicles now to reach the unreachable among the lower end of the SME sector, micro sector, small sectors. So that was a brief sort of outline in a non-economist way, like I did in my own language. That's how we try to cope, we try to face up, and we try to handle it. And I take pride being a part of the team. I take a pride being part of the team which was led by our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, and that pride has been shared by knowledgeable people across the globe. Thank you, Zilur, for your kindly asking me to be with you this afternoon, and also others who are here. And I miss Amir Khusro Mahmood Chaudhry. I hope I'll meet you some other time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, Mr. M.A. Mannan, for the valuable speech. Indeed, this sounds good. Dr. Nazin Ahmed, if you have any final words, please go on. Dr. Nazin.
No, I think the chief guest, the Honorable Minister, has rightly pointed out, because the things that we are looking forward, I would say the challenges that we are facing, the chief guest has already mentioned that more money will be channeled through NGOs, because that I have been writing on this for quite a while, that we have already these known people who are in trouble. They are poor, and all these organizations, they know them. So I'd say that's why in my presentation I thanked the government for this new package, the new program of 2,700 crore taka that will be channeled through the NGOs. I think it is very important at the same time to monitor how they are performing, because they are very badly affected. For example, government is giving working capital through this 30,000 crore taka for large industries, 20,000 crore taka for medium and small industries. But if I don't have my industry, if my enterprise is already in a very bad shape, I will not ask for the loan. Even some of the exporting, like garment sectors are all not big. Only 27% are large enterprises. Most of the garments factories they belong to small and medium category, though the definition is different for them. But the thing is, these garment factories, many of them do not have order. So if they don't have order, why would bank give them money? So there is no point for them to take the money. Now their problem is they have to survive. Government cannot increase the demand in the developed country. So we can hardly say that those who have already taken our product, they should pay on time. But the demand depends on those economies. So what we can do for these enterprises who do not have order from abroad, the export industries, we have to come up with special attention for them, how they can survive or how they can easily exit their business. Because Zillur bhai, in Bangladesh, exiting or ending a business is very difficult also. So I think that is the point with these enterprises. So stimulus package is a good thing, but it will not reach, or it will not be helpful for all of them. The enterprises, especially export enterprises, those do not have orders. So they will not go for working capital. We have to think separately for these enterprises, for their survival or for their smooth exit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nazin Ahmed, for your time and thoughts and for the great presentation. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and our thanks to all the speakers, especially the Minister of Planning Minister, Mr. M.A. Mannan, to my colleagues from the media, my colleagues at the CGS Chairman, Dr. Mujur Ahmed Chaudhry. And so this concludes the webinar. Thank you all for attending. We hope you have enjoyed this session. Take care and have a good day. Thank you so much.